Just be sure that you have a block and a strap nearby because we are going to use that today. And to start off, we're going to be lying down in Baddha Konasana. So lying on the back with the soles of the feet together and the knees hanging open. If this is not comfortable, you can try Sukhasana lying down just to be a little bit easier on the knees. See where your legs are comfortable here. Typically, if you have two blocks or maybe pillows, you can always put them underneath the knees for support as well, because we are going to be here for a few minutes. And if this becomes uncomfortable, just go ahead and straighten the legs. So once you are getting settled, I want you to put one hand on your abdominal area and one hand just in the chest area. It doesn't matter exactly where. Just so you can start feeling the breath. You can close your eyes, kind of turn inward. And just kind of notice your breath. Notice your breath from, even before starting the classes to now when you arrive on the mat. Notice any changes. And we've done a few breathing exercises or breath control pranayama in this class. So this morning we're going to do a new one. And it's the 5-5-10 breath. So at least I'm pretty sure we haven't done this one yet, maybe a version of it. What we're going to do is inhale for 5 seconds, pause the breath for 5 seconds, and then exhale for 10. So I'll count you through the first one, and then you're going to do a few rounds on your own. And if anytime it makes you feel anxious or you just feel like you're losing your breath, just breathe normally. You can even take a normal breath in between. So let's go ahead, take one normal breath here. And then as you exhale completely. And then inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Continue. Do one more round. Wherever you are, just do one more round. And then back to a regular passive breath. So we know that when we elongate the exhalation, that we're tapping into the sympathetic nervous system, and we're balancing everything out. This is really good for anxiety, or deep breathing is good and all of that, but just in the moment, I'm having this, I'm feeling anxious or whatever, to regulate the breath, we can do this exercise. And you can tell if you are kind of in fight or flight mode, even throughout the day. If you're stressed out and you're in fight or flight mode, you can tell because your inhalations will be longer than the exhalations. So this will just kind of help you pause, do it for a minute or whatever, and then just kind of train the body to get back into balance. Okay, take a couple more breaths here. I want to read you something from BKS Iyengar, the Tree of Yoga book that he has. It's about effort, awareness, and joy. When you are practicing a pose in yoga, you can find the delicate balance between taking the pose to its maximum extent and taking it beyond that point so that there's too much effort and you're creating wrong tension in the body. So as far as the movement meditation goes in our practice today, see if you can just have that focus of going to the point where you know your body can go and then just stopping there, like a 70% mark. Anywhere going beyond that, you're creating too much chaos in the mind and too much wrong effort. And we're looking to find that point of ease and meditation in our movement. So that will be our focus today. Go ahead and take the hands down to the legs and support your legs as you bring them back together. We're going to roll over in a supine position, so on the belly. So go ahead and roll over. And then forearms are going to be on the mat, so almost like a Sphinx pose here. But what we're going to do is just a little bit of an arm stretch here. So move your left arm at a diagonal just to support you. And the right arm is going to reach behind the chest. And you're just going to kind of relax. Hold on here. So the left arm is going to crawl across the right side of the mat, and then you're going to reach back with the right. And then with the left hand, let me turn this way so you can see me, because you're probably like, what? All right. So left hand is supporting you so you can get up on your right arm. And then you're going to just creep the left arm across, and then right arm is going to go behind you. So what we're doing here is kind of like kind of like eagle arms, but reverse. So the left arm is going to reach behind your back. We're just going to stay here for a moment. Now, eventually, if your arms are not tight, you're going to be able to reach behind and grab the fingertips. I'm not near that today. We could use a strap, but we're not going to. Couple breaths. And then go ahead, release the right arm first, and then support yourself again with the left arm. And we're going to do the other side. So right hand is going to come behind the back. And then the left arm is going to reach behind the back as well. You're reaching for the fingertips. And it's almost like you're putting a little bit of pressure on that right arm to get that stretch in the shoulder. And go ahead and release. Use your hands to press to the mat. Elbows back. We're going to come to child's pose from here. So when you're pressing up, try not to bend the back too much. Use a little bit of abdominal effort to sit back on the heels, widen the knees, and reach the arms forward. Bring your forehead to the mat. And then just do a little bit of rocking back and forth. You can roll the head back and forth. Just continue to shut the mind off. Take one more breath here, and then we're going to come to hands and knees. So as you exhale, press the hands, lift yourself up to hands and knees. We're going to thread the needle. Bring your left hand to the center of the mat first. Inhale to reach the right arm up for that counter twist. And then exhale, slide it under. Reach the fingertips, right fingertips far away from the body, and then use the left hand to press into the mat. Another option here too, if you need a deeper stretch or a deeper twist, you can straighten the arm so the bicep is lined up with the ear. And then find your breath here. Always returning to that same breath, that passive breath we do in the beginning of each class. Next, exhale, come back to hands and knees. And we'll do the other side. Right hand to the center of the mat. Inhale the left arm up. And then exhale, slide it under. You can press the right hand or extend it off the center front of the mat, or top of the mat, I guess that would be. And then find your breath. Next, exhale, come back to hands and knees. All right, let's do our Betalasana here. Get some heat and mobility going in the spine. Lift the tailbone first. Go really slowly and really focus on dropping each vertebra to the front of the body. Let it, the spine sink between the shoulder blades. And then eventually when you get to the neck, go ahead and lift the gaze. And then as you exhale, begin to round the back. Press the hands, press the feet, arch the body. Drop the head completely. On an inhale, lift the tailbone, lift the gaze. And then one more time, exhale. Pressing the hips towards the face. And back to neutral. We're going to cross at the ankles and have a seat here. So grab your strap. We're going to use the strap a little bit. Beginning with a forward fold here, the Paschimottanasana, which is just the seated forward fold. So if you are feeling compression in your lower back for these forward folds, roll up the back of your mat and put it under the sitting bones. Just a little bit of height helps so much because we're looking for that tilt in the pelvis. All right, put the strap around the ball mounds of the feet. So toes are touching, big toes are touching, feet are flexed. We're gonna inhale, lift the chest, spread the collarbones, and then exhale, hinge forward. We're not trying to go all the way down, to the shins here or grab the feet. We're looking to get a stretch in the back of the legs. So in order to do that also, we need to be sure that the quadriceps are engaged. It gives the signal to the hamstrings that they can relax. So as you're folding forward, still keep the shoulders back. And you can even continue to look at the big toes. And then find your breath here. So just like I was reading in the beginning from the yoga teacher, go to that, 70% mark, and then just breathe and see if you can find the focus into meditation there with the awareness of the body. One more breath. Inhale, come all the way up. Bend the right knee. Bring it out to the side. Strap around the foot. And so even if you can reach the foot and keep the back straight, I want to use the strap anyhow, just to kind of keep that alignment today. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, hinge forward. The elbows can bend here, but keep the chest lifted and keep the chin lifted. Keep the foot flexed. So you're pressing out through the ball mound of the big toe, and that is going to keep your femur grounded in the hip socket. One more breath. Inhale, come up. Anytime we can keep our joints in the right places is a good thing. Knee up, straighten, other side. Strap around the foot. You might notice too, and we'll talk about this a little bit in Tadasana, but even as we're standing and walking, we have these habits of, pressing or hanging out on the ligaments of our hips, which causes problems in the knees and the hips. We want to keep the femurs grounded in the hip sockets all the time, so we get that stability. I mean, part of our core is actually our skeleton as well, right? Okay, so inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lead with the chest. If you want, you can reach behind you and kind of feel to make sure that the lower spine is not sticking out. If it is, then just back it up a little bit. And you might even feel those back muscles working as you keep the shoulders back. So we're stretching and strengthening always. One more breath. Inhale, come up. We'll put our strap off to the side for now. And then bring this knee up, left knee up, straighten it, and we're gonna come into our Upavista Konasana, so seated wide angle pose. You can also have the, for all the forward folds, you can keep that support under the sitting bones. For today, let's keep our fingertips behind us. So get the knees as far apart as they can go, and then lift the chest. Keep the feet flexed. Even if you're not feeling too much of a stretch here, you're feeling the muscles working. The muscles should be working, that you shouldn't be able to move the knees right now, pressing the hamstrings and the back of the legs into the floor. And then if you feel like you can bring the fingertips forward, go ahead and do that. Keep pressing the knees back. Keep the shoulders back. Inhale, come all the way up. Use your hands underneath the knees to bend the legs. And then we're gonna come into like a saddle stretch. So knees are gonna hang off to the right. And I do want to use the strap for this one because, even if you can't get into full half lotus, and so in a normal gentle class, Marina, I might not do some of the postures that I'm doing today, but since I've had you for a little bit, we are going to try a couple of things, just so you know that. So take the right foot and see if you can just put it on top of the left thigh. If this is not going to work, just throw all of this next step out the window too and stay where you are. But if you're able to put the foot on top of the thigh, put the strap around the foot, and right hand reaches behind to grab the strap. Left hand is going to come to the right knee, and then we inhale, and then exhale, twist. Chin parallel to the ground. Try to keep the neck neutral. And even as you reach that edge and you breathe, you can still go a little bit deeper with each breath. See where you need to let go of gripping in the belly maybe. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, come back to center. Unhook the foot. And then we'll do the other side. So flip the knees to the left. Either stay in the saddle stretch here or take the top of the left foot on top of the right thigh. The goal is to have the foot as close to the right hip crease as possible. And honestly, if you have a block nearby, you can put a block underneath the knee to help you out. So once you have the strap around the foot, reach behind with your left hand to grab that strap. Maybe you can grab the toe already if your foot's here. Right hand is going to go to the left knee. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, come into your twist. Left shoulder presses back. Right arm stays straight. Find that slow, steady breath. One more. Exhale, back to center. Release the pose. Strap off to the side. Unhook the feet. We're going to come into hands and knees for our gate pose. So you're going to stand on your knees. You can always put a blanket underneath if you're on hardwood. Take the right leg out to the right. So hips are going to stay facing forward. Pelvis stays neutral. Right leg comes out straight. Toes are up towards the ceiling. And take a look at your knee for a moment. So just kind of notice where the knee is wanting to hang out this morning. And if it's rolled in, I want you to bend the knee a little bit, engage the quadriceps, get the knee to be pointing up towards the ceiling, and then straighten the leg. I walk with my feet out, so now my toes are hanging out to the right. You have to almost like use the force to just try to line up the ankle. Just try to get everything lined up. Doesn't have to be perfect today, just try. Once you arrive there, keep your right hand on the right thigh. Inhale the left arm up. And then exhale, lean to the right, let the right hand slide. We're not going to put pressure on the knee. This is just here for guidance. Take a couple of breaths here. Don't forget about keeping your right leg strong. Exhale, left arm down. Bend the right knee. Bring the right knee back to the floor. Same thing on the other side. Scoot this way. Bring the left leg out. Notice any similarities or differences with this knee and what it wants to do. Pelvis stays center. Bend the knee if you need to. Engage the quadriceps. Try to get everything lined up. Left hand stays on the thigh. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, lean to the left. Feeling the stretch in the side body. And inhale, back up. Exhale, bring that right arm down. Bend the knee, come back to your knees, and then back to hands and knees. So we can curl the toes under and come up into our first downward facing dog. So be sure that you have a good foundation with your hands, pressing the roots of the fingers, and then lift the hips up and back. And just move slowly here.
walking the feet out, moving the hips, moving the shoulders. And then come to stillness, lengthen through the tailbone, get the ears to the inner arms. And then return back to hands and knees. We're gonna take the right leg forward. We're gonna come into lizard pose. So this can be a really intense stretch for the psoas muscle, that huge muscle that attaches the top half of our body to the lower half. It's also the cause of a lot of discomfort in our hips. So this can be intense, just go that 70%. So right leg is gonna come forward and then walk it out to the edge of the mat. So right leg or right foot is now at the edge of the mat, and both hands are gonna be on the inside of the foot. We're gonna soften the left hip forward. So the left leg is gonna be straight, toes are uncurled. And then you're gonna let the right knee just kind of hang out, like fall out to the right, and let the inner arch of the right foot lift. So we're gonna stay here, probably already feeling something. I know I am. But if you do feel like you can go further, say down to your forearms, you can go down to your forearms. Otherwise, just hang out here. And since we are bearing weight on our wrists, please be sure that your wrists are in front of your shoulders. Wrist creases are parallel to the front of the mat. We're going to take one more breath here. This is like pigeon pose on steroids. All right, so first start by flattening that right foot and start to bring the knee in, lift the hips. We're gonna grab our block and our strap. I should have told you to put that next to you wherever you were before, but wherever your strap and your block are, we're gonna use that in a minute. Walk the right foot closer to the center of your mat and then just start to sit back on your heel. We're gonna take the block, put it under our right sitting bone. Left leg is gonna stay back, and the heel is actually, let me do it from this angle. The heel is gonna be on the outside of the hip. So not underneath the butt, it's gonna be on the outside of the hip. So coming into like a half hero pose, okay? Take the strap. Be sure the knees are pointing forward in the same direction. Strap goes around the foot. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. So yes, you're gonna get this in the back of the leg again, but it's a deeper stretch in the back of the leg. Find that edge and just breathe. Inhale, come all the way up. Strap off to the side, block off to the side. We're gonna use it again in a minute. Bring the right foot back. So we're coming back to hands and knees. We're gonna do lizard on the other side. So left leg forward. Walk the left foot out to the edge of the mat. Hands are on the inside of the foot. So we straighten the right leg and let the hips fall forward. Let the left knee hang out. Lift the inner arch of the left foot. Be sure your foundation of your hands is good. Check your wrist creases. Check your elbow behind the wrist. Stay here or go down to forearms. You can take your hand and manually roll your thigh out just to give you some more space in the hip, since this is really a deep stretch. And even though we're deeply stretching the psoas on the other side, you'll notice that your arm is having to use, it's pretty muscular action for the arms.
One more breath here. Go ahead and start to lift the hips, walk the foot in towards the center of the mat, very carefully coming out of this posture. And then start to sit back on the heel. Take your block, put it under the left sitting bone. Be sure your knees are pointing in the right direction. So they don't have to be together, but the femurs should be parallel to each other. The upper leg bones should be parallel to each other, pointing in the same direction. Strap around the foot, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Keep the left foot flexed. Inhale, come all the way up. Strap off to the side. Lift, remove the block, bring the left leg back. We're gonna come up into downward facing dog and do some standing stuff. So curl the toes under, hips up and back. Lengthen through the tailbone, and then we're gonna separate the feet and walk the hands towards the feet. So see if at what point can your heels touch the mat so you can walk towards the feet. Bend the knees. Bend the knees as much as you need to once you get close to your feet, and grab opposite elbows and let the head hang. Really let the head hang, like it's dangling from a string. Nod yes and no. Bring the fingertips back to the mat. We're going to inhale and flatten the back and reach out through the crown of the head. Maybe we're putting our hands on our shins to do that. We just want to even out the blood pressure here. Go ahead and bring the hands to the thighs. And then bend the knees to inhale. Bring the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands in front of the heart. So we were talking about Tadasana, and I told you we would revisit this thing when we were in gate pose with the leg out like this and our knee was wherever it was. Kind of take a look at that in your Tadasana, because now we can press the feet and really engage the legs. We want to engage the legs in Tadasana the same way that we did with the leg out to the side. So knees lined up with the ankles, lined up with the two or the second and the third toes. As if you have a block, you're squeezing between the thighs. Once your legs are active, lift the chest. Notice if your weight is forward. This is how a lot of people will stand, and the hips are just not grounded, which causes problems. So sink the hips back. And our edges of the shoulder blades together or towards each other, down towards the tailbone. Chin is parallel to the floor. So even if your toes are lifting to keep the hips back, that's okay. Close the eyes if you feel comfortable closing the eyes. And just kind of feel how gravity pulls the body around, and see if you can keep the weight of the body evenly balanced through the feet, through the fingertips, and up through the crown of the head. Take one more breath here. Blink the eyes open if they were closed, and then separate the ankles. We're going to grab our block, put it on the outside of what is going to be the right foot. So from the hip socket, move the right toes out 90 degrees. Place your block on the outside by the shin area or the ankle. Depending on your body, you might move that a little bit. So be sure that your heel is lined up with the arch of the back foot. Back foot is in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and extend the arms. Activate the legs. Thighs are rotating out for both legs. Inhale. Exhale, reach forward and down to the block. Rotate the shoulder girdle open, left fingertips up to the ceiling, coming into Trikonasana or triangle pose. Doesn't matter where your head is here, just take some breaths. Engage the lower belly, soften the top ribs. Next, exhale, look down at your foot. Bring this left arm down, put it behind the back. We're gonna take the left foot and hop it up just a little bit until we can get our hips square with the front of the mat. Bring the right arm behind the back. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then exhale, fold forward. Right knee stays straight. Shift the weight to the back foot. Take one more breath here. Press the feet away from each other. Inhale, come up. Exhale, bring both feet together. Good. Take your block. Separate the feet again. We're going to do the same thing that we just did on the other side. So from the left hip socket, toes come out, block comes down. Check the back foot. Arms extend, inhale. Exhale, shift, drop. Breathe. Be sure the thighs are active, engaged, rotating out. Feel what points of the feet are pressing into the mat. Feel the ball mounds of the big toes, especially. Take one more breath. Exhale, look down. Bring that right hand down behind you. You can slightly bend the left knee so you can hop this back foot forward a little bit. Left hand comes behind you. Inhale, lengthen. Straighten the left knee out again. Exhale, fold. Shoulders back, drop the head. Press the feet into the mat away from each other to help you inhale to come up. Exhale, bring the feet together. Good. The block can go off to the side for a moment. And now we're back at the front of our mat. We're going to start in Tadasana. Bring our right foot back. We're going to do warrior one on this side. So, depending, railroad tracks. We don't want the feet to be on a tightrope. So yeah, enough to where your right hip can come forward. So your hips are square to the front of the mat. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale, lift the chest. And then as we exhale, bend into that front knee. Knee should not go over ankle. Press the back foot, outer edge of the back foot. Feel the glutes engage. Keep lifting the chest. You can look up. And then next exhale, we're going to come into a bowing warrior. So knuckles are going to come up towards the ceiling, and we're going to hang forward on the inside of the leg. Press the front foot. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, release the hands, come back to Tadasana. Good. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Take a breath in Tadasana. Left leg comes back. Check your feet. Interlace the fingers. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, bend the knee. Press the outer edge of the back foot. Feel the glutes engage. Lower belly in and up. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, start to hinge forward. Knuckles come up towards the ceiling. Drop the head on the inside of the leg. Press the front foot. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, back to Tadasana. Okay, so grab your block. We're gonna do half moon pose with the block. And so this is what I'm talking about. Like if you were, if this was our first class together, we wouldn't do this posture, but we're gonna do it today. And you've probably done it before. So starting in Tadasana, we're gonna take the left leg back. Okay, I'm gonna do it from this angle so you can see me. Have the block in your right hand. And just put the left hand behind the back for now. We're gonna bring the right arm up. Take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, bend the front knee and place the block on the floor. Keep your right hand on the block and start to shift your weight forward. Maybe lifting the back leg. Don't straighten the right leg yet though. Just lift the back leg. Turn the toes out so the hip is rotated open. And you just stay here staring at a focus point on the floor, or you can continue to bring that leg up. See if you can take 1 or 2 breaths here. And then bend the standing knee or the standing leg and then bring both feet together. Come back to your standing position. Yeah, other side. Tadasana, right leg back, right arm behind the back. Try to back up here so you can see it. Left arm up on the inhale, exhale, reach forward, drop the block. Start to shift the weight forward, find your focus point on the floor. See if you can lift the toes out. Maybe lift the back leg. And then bend the standing knee, bring both feet together, come back to Tadasana. That's the meditation part, right? Where you're focusing on all of these things happening, the ankle wobbling, all of that. And then along with the breath, it becomes this meditative movement, even if it's frustrating for a long time first. That's a really difficult pose. Grab your strap, come to Tadasana legs, take the strap in the right arm or the right hand and bring the right arm up, bicep to ear. Bend at the elbow, reach behind you with the left arm, grab the strap. We're gonna just stretch the shoulders here. Try to get the right elbow pointing up. If your shoulders are tight, it won't do that, but just do the best that you can. Lift the chest, chin parallel to the floor. If you can grab the fingertips behind the back, do that. Engage the lower belly in and up. And since we're in Tadasana legs, the legs are active here. Take one more breath. And then exhale, release the left hand, right arm comes up. Grab the strap with the left hand, bend at the elbow, right hand comes back and reaches. Lift the chest, breathe. Next exhale, go ahead and release the right hand. And we can put the strap off to the side. Inhale, arms up. Interlace the fingers, exhale, hands in front of the heart. 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale up, reaching up. Exhale. Drop the arms. Inhale, bring the arms up in front of you. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look up. Exhale, step back. Come to your knees. Chaturanga all the way down. Keep your hands to the lower ribs and then press yourself back to child's pose. Bring the palms together, bend at the elbows. Put the hands behind the head. We're going to take just a few more breaths here. Bring the hands back to the mat. Press yourself to hands and knees, and then cross at the ankles. Bring yourself to a seated position. We're going to do a seated pigeon. We're going to lie down and do Supta Padangusthasana with the strap. Just the legs will be stretched, and then we'll do our Shavasana. All right, so bring your right ankle to your left knee. Even if the left leg is straight, doesn't matter, however you need it to get there. And then if your knee is bent, wherever you're feeling the stretch on the outside of the right leg, we're going to try to get closer to the heel until our leg says stop. Take some breaths here. Keep the right foot flexed to protect the knee just hanging out in space. Just stabilizes the knee joint. Let's go ahead and straighten the left leg. This time straighten the right leg. And then we take the left ankle on top of the right thigh, right in front of the knee. And then try to bend the knee. Bring the heel closer to the sitting bones till you feel it. Keep the foot flexed and breathe. Chest lifted. The fingers are pointing towards the body. One more breath. Straighten the right leg. Straighten the left leg. Grab your strap and carefully lie down on your back. Left leg is going to stay straight. We're going to take the right strap around the right foot. Holding the strap with both straps are together with the right hand. Just take the right leg up the center line, and left hand is going to stay on top of the left thigh. Left toes pointing up towards the ceiling. We're going to breathe here. Shoulders are relaxed towards the floor. Soften the jaw. And then on your next exhale, keep the left hip glued to the mat and try to extend the right leg out to the side. If the left hip starts to lift up, then you stop. Take a breath. Bring it back to center. Switch hands. So grab with the left hand, right arm out to the side, and then cross over the center line. Try to keep the right hip down towards the mat. The leg is not going to move. It's not going to go too far over that center line because we're looking for that stretch in the outside of the leg. Remember, the left leg is still active. Take another breath here. Bring it back to center. Grab a strap in each hand. We're going to inhale and then exhale. Lift the shoulders, chin to shin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rest the head and shoulders, release the leg down to the floor. Other side. Grab with the left hand, right hand on the thigh, right toes up to the ceiling. Stay here for a moment. If you're feeling any type of pull behind the knee, then bend the knee. You don't want to pull behind the knee. I have like a varicose vein on this leg, so I have to bend the knee, otherwise it pulls. It's not a knee thing, it's just a weird freak thing. Next exhale, we're gonna glue the right hip and open the left leg out to the left. I conveniently have this wall here and I'm gonna use it. Use the inner leg muscles to come back to center. Switch hands, left arm out to the side, and then cross over that center line. Keep the left hip glued to the mat. Come back to center, grab a strap in each hand. Inhale, lift, elbows go left and right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rest, release the foot, put the strap off to the side, and then we're gonna take a long stretch. So bring the arms up overhead, point the toes, stretch, yawn, circle the wrists and the ankles. You can bend the knees and hug the knees. Do a little bit of rocking left to right, and we're gonna move on to our Shavasana. So once you're ready, bring the feet back down, extend the legs, separate the ankles, arms about 6 inches away from the body, palms facing up. Be sure the shoulder blades are flat. Yes, you will have a curve under the back. Chin a little bit lower than the forehead. And just begin to breathe here. I'm going to have you do a body scan from head to toe to see where you are gripping and where you're holding tension. So start at the top of the head. Forehead, eyes, cheeks, mouth, and jaw. Be sure everything is released. Shoulders, neck, shoulder blades, the upper arms, elbows, lower arms out through the fingertips. Being sure that all of those things are softened and released. Move on to the rib cage. The abdominal area, the lower back, the entire pelvic area, so the hip sockets, feeling an unraveling and a release. Bring your awareness to the upper legs, the knees, the shins and the calf muscles, the ankles, and the entire area of both feet. Notice where you're gripping and release. If your mind begins to wander these next few moments, come back to the anchor of the breath. And just give yourself permission here to surrender to gravity.